want me to pause it? You want me to pause it and press ready when we're ready?
No, it's running. You're fine.
All right.
Thank you.
I am fully healed.
As he's talking at your phone, I hope he is.
We have 3 minutes, Jeff has 3 minutes, less than that to get his stuff together here.
Jeff, you should have heard the lovely things they're saying about you right before you got here. Christmas spirit's coming early.
Most of the time, they go ahead and let me know.
We will. We will.
After the press conference.
All right, as we get ready, I don't see Henry here, but silence your phones.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. Just a reminder, this is about the past New Mexico State game, the upcoming New Mexico State game. We cannot, for obvious reasons, one of which that did not involve any of our student athletes. We will not be discussing the incident that happened over the weekend on campus. With that, is Jeffrey ready?
I'm ready.
Everybody else ready?
Yep.
Take it away, boss.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I do want to start off by saying that our thoughts are with those that were affected during this tragic incident that occurred this past weekend. With that, I also do want to say thank you to everybody in this room, and for your patience and understanding that it wasn't the time for us to discuss what we were going to do with the game, and for being patient for us to get to this point right now. There were other factors that needed to be discussed before we got to where we are today. So as we get going, I do want to kind of let everyone know coming to this decision today wasn't just myself. It was meeting with President Stokes, our university administration, UNMPD, of course NMSU, our coaches, everyone that I can possibly sit down with and have good dialogue to make sure that we make the right decision for UNM, for NMSU, for the future of this rivalry. And again, we want to have a healthy competition with NMSU. That is something we strive for. I know they strive for the same. So for us, as we go forward with this decision, my number one importance will always be our student athletes and their safety, and our coaches and everybody else that's involved in our events. So with that being said, and I think most of you already know where we're going with this, we've decided to move forward, not move forward with the game on December 3rd. And we've also decided that we are going to cancel the game that was previously scheduled for this past week. The decision from our part, as much as we'd love to see our men's basketball teams competing, the Lobos and Aggies, we felt at this time there needed to be a pause. This event just recently occurred. There's still a lot of anxiety and concerns in the community, and we want to make sure that those take precedent over this event. With that, as I continue to put some consideration into this, some of the things that we discussed was the unrest, the situations that surrounded that. Also took into consideration past experiences, what we've experienced over the last several years. We need to understand what has happened, what has gotten us to this position in regards to the game itself. And I want to make sure that we can continue to provide a safe environment for our fans, for our student athletes, for our coaches. And those previous events that have occurred, we can do better. I truly believe, and I believe that New Mexico State feels the same way. In communicating again also with New Mexico State Athletic Director Mario Mocha, he also supported the concern about playing the game down at NMSU and being able to provide the necessary support for our student athletes, coaches, and fans. So in going through all this, it was making sure that can we do it right, but also is the time right. There's still too many things going on right now, and I want to make sure that we put everything in consideration. So I'm going to stop right there, open it up. I know there's going to be plenty of other questions. As Frank said, please understand from my perspective, I cannot answer anything in regards to the incident that had nothing to do with anyone within UNM athletics, and I think that gives me, unfortunately, no ability to understand everything that's happening and everything else, so it puts me in a position I really cannot answer, and I don't know anything really besides that. So, be happy to open up.
I want to start off with kind of some logistic stuff, and,
Yep.
and obviously in light of the incident that caused the postponement, this is secondary, but that's where we're at right now.
Sure.
What did the game cost you? What did you guys lose by missing out on this rivalry game?
We're still putting all that information together. It's not 100% tabulated, all the potential loss, but it was in the six figures. You're looking anywhere between little short, under 500,000. This game probably would have garnered our athletic department.
And that includes ticket refunds, the
Yeah.
concessions and stuff. What do you do with season ticket holders who thought they were getting, 18, I think, home games this
Yep.
year? Do you have to do any refunding to season ticket holders?
So season ticket holders, we are discussing right now, because there is a possibility that we might add some games to fill in some of those games that now we're not playing later down the year. But in regards to this game, one of the things that we are strongly considering, we are going to be moving forward with is we feel it's right to be able to reimburse those individuals that bought those single game tickets for this event. As much as it hurts financially for us, it's the right thing to do. And our fans, we've asked them to trust us and come support our student athletes. If they at some point feel they want to donate that ticket cost towards the athletic department, wonderful, we'll take it. But for our perspective, we want to make sure that they understand, first and foremost, that this game wasn't played, and we get that this time of year might be a little bit difficult financially, and so if we can return those funds to them, we will do so. Yes, sir.
What is it going to take for you, the athletic department, the university, to feel comfortable in redoing these games next season or at some point in the future?
That's a great question. And you know, what we're really sitting here to discuss is some of these that are a lot more passionate and heated, and where the fans really have kind of just gotten to a point where we really need to probably take a look and make sure we have everything we need. I truly feel like we have the support through UNMPD, APD, others here to be able to host a game and do it well. But this is a bigger question. This is us sitting down together at the table, NMSU and UNM, and making sure that we think this is it's going to be the same response at their venue as it is at ours. And so now's the time to do that, because we all want this to be a healthy environment. All our sports, except a couple this year, as others alluded to, that have truly compete every year, and they have healthy, and our games have been. But we have to find a way to make sure that everything surrounding the game experience is at the level that we expect it to be. And that's security, that's going to be, that's everything. That's how we communicate the narrative all the way from the start to the finish.
I'm just curious, moving forward, obviously not rivalry, but you got the Lobo Classic coming up. I mean, is security going to be bumped? Are you going to have, give fans security coming in,
Yeah, I even before this event, I felt like we do an unbelievable job when it comes to safety, security, and everything else. We all had already been talking with the isotopes prior to this, so this isn't, I don't want to say this is reactionary. We had already begun the conversations. We were planning on adding metal detectors as they use. Unfortunately, we didn't have all the ones available for this past weekend. We just would have had some gates and not all, and we didn't want to do it just not fully executed. But you're going to see that as we move along, and that's something we had already discussed. That's something we wanted to implement. We feel it's something that, yes, it might add a little bit, a second or two here to getting into the event, but it's the right thing to do right now. We're seeing it everywhere from Pope Joy to isotopes, and it's something, if we can manage, and we're working, as I said, with isotopes, they've been unbelievably helpful with this. We're going to get it implemented. But from start to finish, I do believe that we do an exceptional job here through our event staff and our security. We have a great partnership with UNMPD and APD, and heck, it goes all the way to Rio Rancho. And so we do a great job, and I appreciate their efforts, and we're going to continue to put an emphasis on that.
When it comes to creating the safe environment that you guys obviously both schools want to try and do before this can be played again, how much of that has to do with the players themselves, the safety for those players, but also maybe surrounding the game itself? This wasn't something that happened at a game, but it stemmed from a fight that happened at one of these games. And I'm just curious, what steps you guys can take to, A, ensure that at the games it happens, but also the events surrounding the game, if you have to change anything?
No, I think we have to look at everything. I think if we're going to do this right, we have to make sure that we understand that when we talk about an event on our campus, that, and many of you heard me say, the game experience, the fan experience is really from the moment you get in your car and you drive to campus all the way to the time you get home, because that whole experience from traffic to parking is all part of this, and any event associated surrounding one of our events is something we need to consider. So I would tell you that nothing's off the table. We're going to make sure that we discuss every aspect of it. I know for ours, I would say my second or third year, we had several contests here that we had some circumstances outside that weren't to the level that we expected. We've used those experiences to help us be better in our actions. And so I think that's part of this, is we've got to find ways to make sure that we have the necessary resources, support at our venue. If we're going to play them there, we expect those to be the same as well. And so and Mario agrees, and that's something we're going to sit down and have those conversations. You know, football is here next year, so it's our basically our wheelhouse to make sure that we show that we can do it and do it really well.
Are you able to confirm that there have been discussions about what happened in October, even before this past weekend, that the actions in that October 15th, the game there,
Yeah.
that the actions that happened in the stands, the actions that happened with players, and incidents that happened at that game, was that something you guys were already in discussions in any way with NMSU about before this weekend?
Yeah, you guys all know me. There were incidences that had occurred in the stands that were affecting our players. We had things thrown at our players. We had stuff stolen from our benches. There were several incidences that occurred down there that were not to the level that we expected. And yes, we did communicate this to NMSU. They are aware of this. Luckily, nobody was hurt in respect to those situations, but it's still a concern to know that individuals had access to those areas that potentially can, be future or further harm or concerns.
NMSU announced earlier that they're going to be starting to search players' bags when they go on the road trips. Are you guys making any changes to how your athletes, how they prepare to go travel on the road, even to games that are not against NMSU?
Yeah, whatever they do is what they do. I can tell you that I have the most confidence in our coaches and our student athletes. They understand what our expectations are here. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that none of our student athletes have weapons. I don't know that for certain. But they understand what my expectations are and what our coaches' expectations are about having anything that would be considered a concern. When we go on the road, we do our part to communicate what our expectations are, and at this point don't feel like it is necessary, but because we put the work in the front end to make sure that they understand what we're trying to do here.
You mentioned you spoke with Mario about the decision to cancel these games. Were they part of the discussions to say, okay, we're not coming, or did you just tell them, hey, we're not coming?
Again, this isn't a one-sided situation. Everybody needs to be involved in this discussion and this decision. Our President Stokes was involved. Their Chancellor was involved in the conversations. I think we took more of a proactive role because they had other circumstances they were facing at the time. For me, it was making sure that we put everything on the table, regardless if it was sided towards NMSU or UNM. And so I tried to put everything that could be considered, and so that we could have that good dialogue, and we did. And again, there was no hesitation on their part. They understood. They also had to look at themselves and say, can we do what is necessary in such a short turnaround? Because to just have a game the way they have games, I don't know if it's at the level that we would expect it or hope it would be. That's just my personal opinion. And that he understood that, and he said, I truly understand and agree, and so those are things that we're going to continue to work on. And but no, he was involved, so were their administration as well as ours. This definitely wasn't just one person making a decision. Yes, ma'am.
How's the relationship between UNM and NMSU? How is this going to look moving forward?
The reality is our coaches respect each other. Our administration respects each other. We work alongside each other when it comes to honestly, everything. If you go back to COVID all the way through every legislative cycle, we have to be aligned. And we've had success because of that. And when it comes to funding and other opportunities, I do believe that our student athletes do respect each other. I think when they, at the end of the day, they see the rivalry and they understand the fan base has the passion they bring to the table. But as far as respect, I do believe that the respect is reciprocal on both sides. Could it get better? Can we do more things to show that our community, our fans, that we need to do things a little bit differently, and we got to make sure that everybody is working and walking together forward. That's what we're going to do.
Will this in any way alter the December 11th women's game here in the pit?
No, I asked Mario earlier, and he said that he had spoken to his coach, and his coach wants to come forward and and play the game. So at this point, we will review from now to that game everything we need to make sure that we have everything in place. Yes, it will be the first time an MSU game is housed after the incident that just occurred. We're aware of that. We understand there might be some more feelings associated, but we hope this is a great opportunity for our fans, their fans, to come in and show not just our this game, but show New Mexico, show the country that we come together and we can do this and do it right. So I'm a big believer in trying to use this as an opportunity, these events, to show everybody every time how great we can do things here. And that's going to be the first step. It's going to be the first opportunity that we have together to be able to say, and so will you see certain things differently? Possibly. Will I expect a drastic change? No, because I really do believe we do things extremely well. But there's always opportunity for growth, and there's opportunities of better things. Yes, ma'am.
According to our partners at the Albuquerque Journal, there was a UNM women's basketball player that left the program and apparently the university because of the recent gun violence. Just curious for a comment on that and if any other players have taken a similar measure.
So, look, I'm going to speak in general first. We have a phenomenal group of student athletes, and I hope every time they come on campus that they're here to 4 or 5 years, that they finish their degree here, they excel athletically, academically, they do everything they can. But I also know that this is a different time when it comes to transfers, opportunities for people to really look. There might be other factors besides this that led to this decision. I'm a parent. I'm concerned just as others when it comes to safety and everything else. But I'll tell you this, I wish her the best. I really do. I understand. And we've had conversations with every one of our student athletes. We've had our coaches, our administration, others that I have personally not been able to reach everyone, but I've had my staff members and coaches that have had communication with their student athletes. And we asked them, if this is a concern or anything else, let's have this conversation. Let's see what we can do. If they need any additional support, we're going to provide it for them. But I want to wish Brooke the best opportunity wherever she decides to go. I would have loved to have seen her continue her education and her opportunity, because I think she's a special athlete. But I understand, and I respect her decision.
In any of those conversations with other student athletes, have you gotten any indication that anyone else is either considering or just even concerned about campus safety right now?
No, you know what? I think this is an isolated incident, and I think people need to kind of keep that aware as far as on our campus. And we all always, again, my priorities are safety of our student athletes. I have over 450 student athletes here that every night when I go to bed, I have that in the back of my mind. And so I do, and I try to have our staff work on doing everything we can possibly do to make sure that we provide a safe environment. We give them outlets, opportunities to go places instead of putting themselves potentially in a position. So at this point, no student athlete has expressed that. Could there be another one? Maybe. But we want to make sure that we do everything to secure, to give them the assurance, but also give them the opportunity to be able to say, okay, I get it and I understand, and be aware of their surroundings right now.
Anything else?
Just one quick follow-up to the business side of this, the scheduling thing. In light of the fact that you guys are going to lose $400,000 to $500,000 out of this game, would any additional games that are being made up, is there anywhere you can give them money to buy a game? Because teams don't come here for free, so you have to buy the game. So
We've been talking to our basketball coach already. This is a promotional deal here. No, I would tell you this: it is going to become a little bit of a challenge to try to find games, especially when you try to have somebody come play here at the pit. It's already a challenge as it is. There might be an opportunity to play neutral sites. Some teams have to make up certain games as well because they've lost them for whatever reason. So if we can find an opportunity to do that, and let's see if we can with a home and home. So I'm not taking it off the table if we have to find some additional revenue some way, somehow. If I have to go fundraise, I have to sit with a donor and see if I can fundraise some more money to make one of those opportunities possible. Great. I would love to get two more games to give them an opportunity to play 2 more games. Hopefully one of those are at home for our fan base's sake. But if we can't, we're going to figure it out. I would love to be able to look at the end of the year and be able to look back and say we were able to get those games, and that's helped us get into the NCAA. And I know it's a long way from now to then, but every opportunity that we can make it up and make sure that's available, we're going to do so.
To make sure the contracts do have penalties. If you guys don't play NMSU and they don't play you, there's I think $100,000 penalty. Have both schools already agreed to just waive that?
Both administrators, both president and chancellors have agreed to this. So I would say yes. We got long-term, opportunities that we can make better in this. So I don't see that being a concern.
Anything else? All right.
Thank you all. Truly appreciate it. Honestly,
thanks a lot.
thank you for your patience and understanding, y'all.
Been getting here on short notice.
Yes. Sorry.